What is up, YouTube? So I have been kind of super just like busy and on the go the past like week and a half, so I did not get a video up. I went home for my brother's graduation, stayed there for a few days. I thought I was only gonna stay for like 2 days, so I didn't bring my camera, and then I ended up staying for like almost a full week, came back, and then my family was in town for the Razorback baseball. They are playing to go to the college World Series, so I was at those games. So basically just like a bunch of random stuff, and then catching up on client work, working on my guide, things like that. But today is just going to be a Q&A, and then coming up I'm going to try to get a workout split video up for you guys, with kind of my current workout split and also just what I have changed recently to truly see results, because honestly in the past like month I have seen better results than I ever have in my fitness journey and my strength, and just like how I feel, how I'm looking, than I ever have. So I'm gonna make a video on that as well. But today's just gonna be a Q&A. I put like a response thingy on my Instagram story, and I got probably like 14-ish responses. I think I'm gonna start doing them on my actual posts again, because I tend to get a lot more comments than I do whenever I do the response ones. So with that being said, I'm trying to think. My guide, other than the videos, is done. So literally I just have to get the videos back, which I'm getting tomorrow, link them in there and make sure that I like spell check everything, and then it's ready to go. I will probably do a full video on that as well, but there is going to be a guide plus coaching option, first come first serve. So if you are interested in that, just like stay tuned to my Instagram, my stories, my posts, because that will be where you will hear it first. But let's just get right into this Q&A. So number one, how old are you? 21. My birthday is early September, and I am 21. I just graduated undergrad, so I was literally like the youngest one in my, like probably the youngest one in my class, I'm pretty sure. Do you warm up before your workouts? Yes, I always warm up before my workouts. I think that warm-ups are just as, well, obviously they're different, but just as important as the workout. So for upper body days, I will do a lot of, I will do the PVC pipes and kind of like go, you know, back and forth. I will do resistance band, like shoulder openers, rotator cuff work with bands to really get my rotator cuffs warm so that I don't injure them. Lower body days, I like to do a lot of hip openers, leg swings, butt kicks, dynamic stretches. But yes, I always warm up for probably like 10 to 20 minutes depending on like what I'm doing that day. Like if I'm going super heavy on like squats and stuff, I'll probably warm up longer, just to prevent any injury and make sure that I'm warmed up, obviously. But yes, always. How do you best deal with stress? So honestly, this is one thing I'm still working on, but I will say I have gotten a lot better the past probably 3 months or so. I used to handle stress in a very bad way, and I would honestly just shut down and like, instead of actually doing things to start knocking things off my list that were stressing me out, I would literally just like sit all day and be anxious. But lately there's a few things I've been doing. Number one, I don't check my phone in the morning until I get like my morning routine done. So I wait to check that because you guys might have heard this before, but whenever you look at your phone first thing in the morning, it can make you very responsive to your day rather than kind of taking your day head on. So that's helped me out a lot. And then also making a cutoff time to put up my phone at night, and then I will read like 10 pages before bed, because my stress comes a lot right when I wake up and right before bed. So prioritizing those 2 times has really helped me. And then also just doing things on my own terms has helped me out a lot. I used to, and still sometimes struggle with, wanting to please other people, and making too many plans that I know is going to stress me out because I'm a very routine person. And that's not to say that I don't need to get out of my comfort zone and figure out how to deal with things that aren't in my routine, but it is also okay to not please everybody every single day because it's my life. So that has also helped me a lot. Music helps me a lot. Calling my mom helps me a lot. Cooking honestly helps me. But yeah, that's how I have been dealing with it. And sometimes I just like go on a walk, or I'll just literally put my phone down, turn off all electronics, and just kind of sit there, think, make lists. Okay, that's a big one too. This is probably my last thing on this because I don't want to talk too long about it. But making lists is everything for me. If I'm stressed about things I have to do, I will make a list of everything, like down to fold socks of things that I need to do. That way it's all out of my head and onto paper. But that's my tips. What has been the hardest part through your fitness journey? I think that the hardest part of my fitness journey was two things. Number one, realizing that my goals aren't always going to be the same, and this journey is dynamic, and like what I have in my head right now isn't like what's for sure going to happen. And my goals change. Like sometimes I really like think I hate tracking macros, and I just like never want to track another macro again. And then sometimes I love it. I love the process. I think it's fun. And I'm genuinely happy when I'm doing it. So I think that's been one hard part, was kind of realizing that that's okay. And that everybody goes through stages, and that's part of life. So that was one of my hardest parts, because on Instagram, people like you to be, or on social media, people like you to be all one thing. Like, oh, she tracks macros, or oh, she doesn't. But realizing that it's okay if I change my mind sometimes, or not even change my mind, just go through a stage in my life where things change a little bit. Since everything is on social for people to see, that's been hard. And then I think the second hardest part was kind of figuring out that I might be a little bit more extreme / different than most people, and really realizing that it's a lifestyle, and that like the party lifestyle and the fitness lifestyle really just like they don't go together. And that's not to say that I never party, because I do like to go out. I do enjoy a drink. I do enjoy occasionally going out like super late, but honestly, if I don't get my sleep, I'm grumpy AF. But I think realizing that was hard for me, because I wanted to be both so bad to please people, but I genuinely like am so happy in the lifestyle that I'm in, with a little bit of balance here and there, because I love having fun too. Like I love concerts, I love going to dinner and getting drinks with friends, but realizing that maybe I am gonna say no more than most people to that, and that's okay. That was also hard still. I mean, I'm not saying I'm totally perfect on all of these, but I would say those are some of the hardest. And then obviously I struggled with like eating disorders and things in high school, but that's kind of a different topic. Those were obviously hard, but at the time I didn't know it was hard. I was just like crazy. Well, not crazy, it's a real issue, but you guys know what I mean. Whenever I squat, I feel my shins firing / flexing. Does this mean my calves are too tight? So I would say this could be two things. One, yes, your calves could be tight, so I would recommend like some stretches like with your foot up against a wall and kind of like rocking back and forth. But also what it really could be is your ankle mobility. So on my squatting days, that's part of my warm-up. I do hip openers and ankle mobility warm-ups. So I would look up some good ankle mobility things. There's one where like you can put your toe up against a wall and then like sit, you're not gonna be able to tell whenever I'm describing this, sit like on one knee and kind of like rock back and forth and keep your foot perfectly flat on the ground, and it helps out with your ankle mobility. Also check your shoes, make sure you're squatting on a flat surface. I like to squat in Converse or socks, or like Vans, something like that. And then also, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I have a video up on my Instagram with one of those ankle mobility routines. It's one, it says like full lower body warm up, like on the video if you want to go look at it. But also you could just look them up on Google, but I would give that a try as well. What's your advice for how to recover from a really bad cheat day / meal? So my first tip is to not ever like think of these things as, like, don't think of food in a on day and a cheat day, or a good meal and a bad meal. I like to think of everything as just food, some that help me with my goals, some that probably don't. And the word cheat kind of comes with a connotation that you're doing something wrong, and you're not. Being human and enjoying some pizza is not inherently wrong by any means, but I think whenever you put that bad connotation and you bring those guilt feelings into it, it can turn into way more than you plan on eating, a full day, and then just like feeling like crap the next day. So I would say how to recover is just get right back on track. Drink a lot of water, more than you normally would. If you normally drink a gallon, add another 4th gallon to the next day. But eat your normal meals that you know digest well. So even if like Halo Top or whatever might fit your macros, maybe avoid that for a few days to make sure that your digestion gets back to normal and you're feeling less bloated, feeling better. Get right back into your workouts, but don't like compensate, don't starve yourself, don't go do endless cardio. But I would say just like for the future, just try not to think of food that way. I kind of think more as like free meals, untracked meals, and I still am like mindful, like I don't, just because it's not being tracked doesn't mean I'm gonna eat everything possible. I just kind of like enjoy a little bit of what I want, move on, and yeah. So that would be my biggest advice, is to try to change your mindset around it so that you don't have those guilt feelings, and just get right back on track after, because it's just a meal. And yeah. Do you have a boyfriend? No, I do not. How many calories do you eat in a day? So this is one thing that I don't really share, just because I don't want anybody to compare their numbers to mine. I did a like 6 or 8 month reverse diet. I've been doing a cut for like 20 weeks, and I've had diet breaks, refeeds. My calories have been, you know, like all over the place. And so like if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, they would have been different than they are today. 3 months ago, different than they are today. So I just don't want anybody to like take my number for anything, because where you are is what matters. So, but I will say, please don't undereat. If you're eating like 1,200 calories, you're very likely undereating, unless you're like 4 or 5 and at the end of a cut or something. But, and I'm not talking about like competitors and stuff, but I don't share the number. But yeah. How tall are you? I am 5'8.5", 5'9"-ish. I honestly haven't gotten accurately measured in a long time, but I'm pretty sure I'm like 5'8.5" or 5'9" or something like that. Maybe 5'8", I really don't know. How do you deal with binge eating? I've been struggling for 2 years and it's still so hard. So this was something I only dealt with for a very short amount of time, because I think a lot of mine was more overeating and feeling bad about it. And I think I only had a very short time where I would actually consider it the actual binge eating like disorder. For the most part, I think I just went through a stage after restriction where my body is like, oh my gosh, feed me, and then I would feel guilty and then I'd eat more, and it's still a terrible cycle. But I personally I don't feel comfortable really giving tips on how to recover, because that is not my profession, that's not in my scope. What I would say is definitely reach out to somebody professional about it. Don't be embarrassed about that, like at all. Honestly, more people need to speak up about it, because it's so common, and get the help that you need. Because what I tell you, like some things that I tried that may have worked a little bit for me, like probably won't work for you, because everybody's so different. And honestly, I don't really know how I dealt with it. Like I don't know. So I would definitely recommend going to talk to somebody, and don't be ashamed of it. Like, don't feel weird about it. I still have my own struggles with food sometimes. I'm not even on the same scale, like not even close to how they used to be, but like everybody does. So don't feel bad, and get the help that you need. Your thoughts on sugar and artificial sweeteners? Curious because of your cereal choices. So my thoughts on sugar and artificial, first of all, sugar I don't really care about. Like I don't even understand the whole like sugar is killing you. No, being overweight and overeating calories is what's giving people like heart disease, diabetes, all that. stuff, but that's like a whole video on its own that I don't want to get into. But my thoughts is like everything in moderation. No, I don't eat a ton of artificial things because it impairs my digestion a little bit, and in my opinion, digestion means so much in the grand scheme of like seeing progress, just like your overall health. I think a lot of people downplay the importance of their digestion. They just think it's not a big deal that they're bloated every single day and never go to the bathroom, or when they do go to the bathroom, it's never normal. But for me, my digestion being on point shows me that my body is working properly. So I do eat artificial sweeteners, but I just keep them in moderation. I don't eat them at every single meal. So with like simple sugars, like my cereals, like my Cinnamon Toast Crunch and things like that, I do try to keep them around a workout, just because spiking your insulin around a workout is actually, like post-workout, is actually beneficial because it helps your body pull the glucose and the protein, if you take protein with it, into the cells. And then I try to keep it to more sugars that aren't gonna spike my insulin so much later in the day or at other times that aren't my workout. So things more like oatmeal and stuff like that. But I don't, like I say that, but then also like I eat like 200 grams of strawberries most nights right now. So I just don't really worry about it, I guess. And then, but I'm not gonna like fill all of my macros with just straight sugar, because then I'd be starving all the time, because I wouldn't be like filling myself up. Like I would not be satisfied. And artificial sweeteners, I just have in moderation. Like all the studies done where they have shown any negative effects have been in like large doses. So I just keep them in moderation. And if I feel like I'm eating too many and it's like affecting my digestion, then I'll cut back a little bit. And yeah, like sugar, alcohols freaking kill my stomach. So I do try to avoid those as much as I can, unless I'm eating like Enlightened or something, which I don't do very often because of that. Okay, next question. Good desserts besides mug cakes? LOL. I love how she said besides mug cakes, because she knew that that was gonna be my first suggestion. I really like protein ice cream, which is basically a mug cake but with some frozen fruit and ice, and you blend it up and turn it into like protein ice cream. Or like the thick protein smoothies, where you do like ice, a little bit of frozen fruit, level 1, PB2, and a little bit of almond milk, and they're like so thick and creamy. Those are good. Greek yogurt with berries is really good, or Greek yogurt with the cookies and cream level 1 mixed in. So good. What else do I eat? Rice cakes, like chocolate rice cakes are really good with like nut butter or something. And you could do, what else do? I eat a mug cake like every night, so this is kind of hard for me. Oh, pancakes, protein pancakes. Most of my desserts are like protein, macro friendly kind of desserts. So they're usually like protein pancakes, protein yogurt, protein smoothies, protein mug cakes, things like that. I do like Enlightened a lot, but like I said, it kind of messes with my digestion, so I try to do that in like moderation, like once a week, maybe even once like every other week, because it does throw it off a little bit. How did your caffeine cleanse go? So it went really, really good. I ended up doing it for 3 weeks. The first week, honestly, so right before I started it, that week before had probably been the most chronically tired I had ever been, like ever, and I honestly could not figure out why. Like I would sleep in really late, go to bed early, and need a nap like 2 hours later. I would like drink a Monster and be tired as I'm drinking it. And so I did a cold turkey caffeine cleanse, and honestly, the first 3 days were rough. I honestly think I was having like some real withdrawals. I probably was. But then after that, I kind of started to like wake up and like be like, I could think more clearly. And then I started to get more natural energy back. Like I didn't really need the caffeine. And then I noticed also, first of all, my sleep got so much better, because caffeine does have a half-life of about like 5 to 6 hours, which means that in 5 to 6 hours after drinking it, half of it is out of your system. So like if you drink it at noon it's probably still in you when you're trying to go to sleep, a little bit of it. So I did notice that my sleep got a lot better, and also my anxiety was so much better, like so much better. Not that I never got a little bit anxious, but it was just so much better, and I could think so much more clear. So I actually did start adding it back in yesterday, but I'm keeping it to very, very minimum, not even close to what I was doing before. And I will likely continue to do deloads and full like caffeine cleanses, whatever, just like every like 6 weeks or so. I'm not really sure, but it was amazing. I would highly recommend it, especially if you over abuse caffeine, which most people do. For women, I would say if you're drinking like 200 milligrams a day or more, definitely consider it. And the reason that also that caffeine cleanses are and deloads are good is just to de-stress the body, get cortisol levels down, get your natural energy back, things like that. So yeah, it went so good. Very glad I did it. I feel so much better now. Like, I just have so much more natural energy. And now when I take the caffeine, because I'm doing like, I think I'm only doing 100 milligrams a day right now, maybe like 90. And when I do take it, it actually like works and I don't get a crash after it because I'm not over abusing it. And yeah, I just feel really good. So highly recommend. I was getting to the point where I was like about to fall asleep all day. So that is not good. Myers-Briggs type. So I got this question and then I went online. The actual test was like 60 bucks. So I was like, I'm not doing that. But I did take like a fake one, and it said that my type was the defender, which it said is like a very complex personality. And honestly, I think that a lot of it was very, very accurate, because a lot of it was like they care a lot about other people. They're very good gift givers, especially to family, which is literally me to a T. That's like what I'm known for, and my family. And then I think it said something like hard to get close with at first, but when you do, like I'm very, then I get like, you are my person and I would do anything for you kind of thing. But it does take me a while to open up to people. I'm very, I mean, it is called the defender, defensive over my feelings, I guess. And then it was also kind of talking about like, I enjoy social settings, but it also drains me, which is so me. I'm very introverted / a little bit extroverted. And what else was on there? I know that there was a couple things that it said that probably weren't very accurate for me, but at the same time, like they could be, because it said like I would be good as like a teacher or like a service person. And I'm sorry, I don't really like kids, but I feel like with the job that I have right now, like coaching, online coaching, it's kind of like similar, and I like to help people in that way of service. So I don't know, but it said I was defender. And also it said that I trust people too much and let people get into my life too much and then they hurt me, which is also very accurate. So, but yeah, it was kind of creepy how accurate it was. And I guess I do have a pretty complex personality. It confuses me even sometimes. So that was all of the questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know ideas that you guys want to see. I got more comments last time for like full days of eating and stuff, so I'll definitely do more of those. But thank you for watching. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe below to support. And I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.